Hey, it's Ken from Coffee Crafters, and I'm actually in my roasting room at home, and I wanted to do another video on doing a roast with the Valenta 3. And this time I'm going to use the Hermetheus software. It'll take care of the heat while we're doing our video. So I have a 2-pound load right here. So my power here is very similar to the power we have at the shop. So my charge loft setting is on 3.5. I'm going to load it there, turn it down to 3, and then we can do the rest of the roast that way. And the Hermetheus unit will manage the heat. So let's go ahead and get this load started. It's already got the software up and running, so I'm just going to hit start. I've selected my ending bean temperature. Hit charge. And it's running. So you see down here that it started the heat at 100%. And it's going to adjust that. This ramp is going to go up. The blue line is my actual bean temperature. And as it goes up there, it's going to hit that line, and then it'll start regulating. We'll show you what that ramp looks like when we get started. So anyway, it's kind of cool with the Valenta 3 because you can watch the entire roast go on. It's almost the entire side of the roast chamber is exposed through the glass. So yeah, it's kind of fun to watch. So some of the features on the roaster that are different than other ones. One of the things we added to the back of the machine is an hour meter. So the hour meter runs when the system power switch is on. So the loft motor brushes need change every 550 hours. And so you can just, when you get 500 hours on the clock, pull the motor out and change them. It's really easy to get to the motor over here, right behind this door. Got some bolts there. Pull the motor out. Takes about 15 minutes, and you'll be back up and running. All of the controls, the electrical components, the loft motor, everything here is really easy to get at. So on the back of the roaster, there's a door that opens up, and all the electrical components are right there. Need to change out a motor right through the side here. That's the same with the heat element. You just pull it out the side. Don't have to take anything else apart. If you need to change a switch or something, this panel comes out. There are 4 screws, and we actually ship them with a little bracket that holds this door open. It's the same bracket we use during assembly, but we send one of those, we print one of those for our customers, so if they have to do some maintenance, it's real easy to get that done. Like with all the roasters, if you ever need a service part, when you get your service part shipped to you, you're going to see a QR code on there. You click on that with your smartphone, a video comes up and shows you how to change the part. One of the things about this roaster, different than the Artisan 3, so probably should explain what those differences are and why we upgraded it. One of the reasons we did it is with the new technology built into the roast chamber, they're a lot more efficient. So we're using the same heat element, the same electrical component, but it's a lot more efficient. So with the Artisan 3, when it was warm, you could get 6 loads an hour out of it. With this one, you can get 7. So we didn't upgrade the capacity. We haven't been asked yet, but I know this is going to come. People are going to say, can I do a larger load than 3 pounds? On a warm machine, yes, you can, and we have done 3.5 pounds, and it did it in about 10 minutes on a hot machine, 10.5 minutes. So yeah, you could if you wanted to do that. One of the things that happens is that some people sell their coffee in full 16-ounce bags, and so if they want to get full bags, then it takes more than a pound to do that. The extra throttle worked really good because when we get into this roaster wave and it catches up here, you're going to see the throttle back down right. And then it has extra throttle, so even on a 3-pound load on a hot machine, this is a cold machine that we started on, that's why the graph looks like it does. If we started on a hot machine, it wouldn't be using a lot of power, and it really doesn't need to get up to 100% through the entire roast on a 3-pound load. So that extra throttle that it gave us from the extra efficiency made a big difference. So one of the things on the loft setting here, so we're lofting at 3 setting. We established the loft, we loaded at 3.5. If this was on the Artisan 3, we would be running at about 4 on the dial. So it takes a lot less air to loft a full load on the Valenta 3 compared to the Artisan 3, and that's one of the things that makes it more efficient. Because the more CFM you run past the heat element, the more energy it takes to heat that air. So, and not only that, in this machine, we preheat the air going into the intake. So come over here on the side, Bryce. We regulated this by how much perf we put in the door. So we're sucking air off the hot component, the heat chamber, the roast chamber, into here, and they come in around it. This is enclosed in a housing. And so when we were in development, we didn't want the intake air to get over 110 degrees, but we wanted to get it up to 110 degrees. And we did that by starting with a big perf area here, and then we just kept reducing it until we got down to stabilize at 105 to 110, which doesn't hurt any of the components on the motor. And when you're preheating the air, intake air up to 100 degrees or 110 degrees, that saves so much energy over heating all of the air going in like the Artisan 3 at ambient air temperature. So on the Artisan series of roasters, we use the intake air to cool the electrical components. On our new Valenta machines, we shielded the electrical components so they don't need cooling air, and so we're taking that intake air and putting it to good use, and that is getting preheated so that it heats up the intake air, and that adds to the roast. Okay, we hit first crack in about 8 minutes, and one of the things with this machine is you can roast faster than that if you want. In fact, Jason is going to be programming in for the Valenta 3 a much faster roast profile, so you can do them in 6.5, 7 minutes. There's no reason not to do that. One of the differences is, and that took us a little while to get used to, and our customers are not used to hearing it, 8 to 12 minutes was a sweet spot on the Artisan series of roasters. The reason was the beans in the Artisan, the loft air came up through the center and made first contact with the bean, and only contact, because then the heated air went out the exhaust. On the Valenta series, it doesn't do that. The air goes up and it circulates back around, and the hot air is blowing back on the top of the bean bed as it gets sucked back down. So the actual contact to the bean with the hot roast air is a much higher percentage of time than it was on the Artisan. That's one of the things that made it more efficient. Well, when we did that, we could actually roast faster at a lower temperature. So that's one of the reasons we were able to roast a lot faster on this, and with the same type of development time. All right, we're coming up on the end of the roast here. So I am going to go ahead and dump it. So what I'm going to do, because we're not roasting anymore, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat, and I'm going to open the blast gate over here. And when I dump this, again, I'm going to turn the loft down momentarily. I bumped the loft a couple times. And there we go. The bean cooler is really efficient. If you see our last video, one of the things Chris did is he designed this intake air plenum in SolidWorks airflow. And we were cooling beans in about 3 minutes with our other cooler. And I've been cooling full 3-pound loads of dark roast in about 70 seconds. Because he designed that plenum so it's got equal suction all the way across the bean bed. And yeah, it's really efficient, it works great. So if you have any questions about the new Valenta series, give us a call. We'll be happy to answer those. We'll see you again in the next video.